and the same old thing.
Well, we've got to build the foundation that we have here, and you're right, it is an over-reliance on tourism, and I would say we used to have 1,000 retirees moving to the state every day, which fueled this, what I call the get-rich-quick real estate bubble. All we have to do is look out of this window and see it. So I believe that the investments we did make in attracting research institutes like Scripps, Torrey Pines. Just yesterday or the day before, I was in Orlando at the groundbreaking of Medical City of the new University of Florida Research Center. I mean, you can see before your very eyes how within a short period of time there will be 30,000 jobs in Lake Nona, Florida that were not necessarily there before in healthcare and allied and research fields. So I think the answer, Tony, is more of that. But if we're, and I'm supportive of providing incentives and tax credits if we're going to get the kind of jobs that we want, but we have to hold those businesses accountable for actually achieving and doing what they say they're going to do. And if 3-5 years down the road we should have benchmarks, they haven't fulfilled their promise, then they need to give the state their money back, our money back. And so what I'm seeing is that we need to have more of a focus, a greater focus. And because I know so much about region by region, what the unique characteristics of regions are, what I'm going to do as governor is sit down with the regional EDCs like the Broward Workshop and the Broward Chamber of Commerce, and let's focus on what are the ways that we can diversify our economy. A lot of that, let's talk about right here in Broward County. Some wise group of people decided, in the early 90s, that we don't want to be spring break capital anymore. And look at what's happened. Fantastic things. So growing the marine industries here, growing healthcare here, taking advantage of our location as a jumping off point for Latin America and the Caribbean. My whole plan has been built around small business because it's small business that drives the economy here in Florida. And the two biggest problems they have, number one, access to credit. So I'm going to work with the Florida Export Finance Corporation to get more credit available for companies who want to do export-import business, which is a great strength here in South Florida. And I'm also going to work with other kinds of lending institutions and have opportunities for our entrepreneurs, which is what's made Florida, to have access to credit and capital and attract more venture capital into our state. So it's doing more and better than what we've done in the past.
How do you propose, if you're elected, you'll be tried by the legislature? I mean, the Republicans over there also like small business. They talk about accountability, but they have a different vision of those terms than you do. How do you deal with the Dean Cannons and the Mike Herodopoulos of the world that you would have to deal with this stuff?
It's a great question and something that's really on a lot of people's minds. I can just go back and give you some evidence. I rolled out my business plan for reviving our economy back in probably, I'll say February, it could have been March, but it was before the session began. And a number of my suggestions were actually incorporated in the jobs bill that the legislature did pass. A good example would be the notion that we provide tax credits for film and video production. Something that other states have already offered to great success. I mean, we have people literally, I heard on the radio that there are people who are driving to the Tampa airport, flying to New Orleans every Monday morning because they have production jobs because of Louisiana's been very aggressive about film production. And that was incorporated in the jobs bill. Now, I'm not taking credit for that. I mean, it was an idea that was out there. But what I'm suggesting, Doug, is that these leaders of the legislature, if they are doing their job, being responsive to the people of Florida, we're going to have exactly the same goal, which is put Floridians back to work. And we'll be able to sit around the table and agree on what the proper framework and structure of policies at the state level is to enable us to all celebrate the fact that we're bringing more jobs back to Floridians. We'll find common ground. That's what I've done my whole life. Look, I was in the financial world. I was surrounded by Republicans my whole life. I know how to work with people.